Forgotten. Chapter 3. Derelict. Sunny was the first one through the doors again, stepping into the darkness, lightly tapping the dual LED band around her head to turn them on. Zip did the same while Pip turned on her phone's light just below the camera lens.
Oh!
Izzy exclaimed excitedly.
I was hoping there'd be an opportunity to try this out. I've been practicing.
The lilac unicorn closed her eyes in concentration, and her horn began to glow. There was a short spark of light, then it snaked up to the tip of her horn. More motes of light quickly followed and gathered to a small orb of light. After several moments, Izzy opened her eyes and smiled ecstatically.
Yes!
She squeaked.
What do you think, huh? You've seen headlights, but now, horn light.
Far out, Iz. Zip complimented. The unicorn's illumination spell didn't do much for distant lighting, but it did do a great job of brightening up their immediate surroundings as they stepped into the cavernous foyer.
Yeah, that picture didn't do it justice, Sunny.
Zip commented.
Me and my friends have just stepped into a long-forgotten ruin from ancient Equestria. What awaits us in these derelict halls? Let's find out together.
Pip narrated, getting slow, panning shots as they made their way down the middle of the foyer towards the stairs.
Have you ever done a video series like this before, sis? Normally it's makeup how-tos, song performances, and ads for your latest fragrance.
Zip teased.
Nothing wrong with mixing it up a bit. Who knows, might even expand my audience a bit with this.
Sunny was the first one to get to the stairs and put the weight of one hoof onto the first one, finding it stable and solid.
This is an awful lot of stone and crystal in one place for a forest where you don't really find them.
Izzy commented as they climbed the stairs. Sunny knew Izzy was right, crystal outcrops were absolutely everywhere in Bridalwood, but on her walk in here, there wasn't anything close to resembling these crystalline shades of purple and blue.
This is definitely less of a tree house, and more of a tree castle, am I right?
Zip quipped, as they came to the halfway point of the stairs, where it split to the left and right to circle the foyer balcony, as well as continue deeper inside with 4 hallways, one to the east, one to the west, and 2 to the north.
Well, Sunny Star Scout, as the discoverer of the site, you choose where we go first. Which way?
Pip asked, turning towards the Earthmare, who drew herself away from her surroundings just long enough to give a short smirk at the camera.
Let's go up the right stairs and then more towards the back. I'm guessing the most important rooms are in the center, and the side halls are bedrooms and the like.
Sunny answered as she climbed the right set of stairs and immediately turned left into the hall. The crystal pillars, walls, ceilings, and floors made their light sources considerably more powerful than they'd normally be, as they'd reflected and spread the beams of light farther. It was just as well, due to the shell of wood that surrounded this place, it was unlikely any natural sunlight would ever reach these halls again. The hallway that she had chosen continued on for another 20 feet before it met another hall. This one curved slightly, and if the curve was steady, it went in a large circle, likely surrounding a large room in the center. Sunny made another left, followed closely by her new friends, as the hall curved to the left. When they came to another smaller set of double doors, she had a feeling that they were in the middle of the structure again.
Hope this one's unlocked?
Izzy asked.
It may not have anything to do with the locks. This place has God knows how long to settle, so they might take a strong push to open regardless. But yeah, I'm hoping we don't have to break every door in this place off of its hinges. That doesn't really seem very respectful.
Sunny answered as she approached the doors. There were oxidized metal door handles on each one, but they seemed stationary, with no turning or latching mechanism at all. After studying the doorframe as best as she could in these lighting conditions, she felt that it was probably best to push instead of pull. Carefully getting the tip of her hoof in between the handle and the door, Sunny slowly began to push, trying to apply more force as evenly as she could. Luckily, this door hadn't endured nearly as much exposure to the outside elements as the front doors had, and after some creaking, the door gave way, rotating on its rusted hinges, and Sunny luckily kept her balance this time. Back on all 4 hooves, she gently pushed both doors all the way open, and when her friends saw her eyes widen, they came up to peer into the room, and immediately had similar reactions. The cavernous chamber didn't quite rival the foyer, but it wasn't the size of the room that had grabbed their attention. But it was the diamond-shaped gemstones scattered all over the room, all the way up to a large stone round table in the middle of the room, surrounded by 6 chairs.
Whoa, jackpot,
Zip said, bending down to pick up one of the gems. Sunny turned and watched her turn the gem over in her hooves, and thought that she saw something.
Wait,
Sunny said, stepping over to the white Pegasus who was holding the gem.
Do that again. Turn it slowly.
Zip did so, and when their lights hit the facets just right, an image appeared in the center, as if it was frozen in the gem. Sunny squinted her eyes and made out a familiar purple unicorn and a pink earth pony standing in a library among a dozen other ponies, and her eyes widened.
It's like a crystallized photograph, and those are...
Sunny's sentence trailed off as her eyes widened even more as her attention turned to the table and the surrounding chairs. Taking the utmost care to avoid the gems scattered all over the floor, she made her way to the closest throne, reached up and brushed the layer of dust away from the top back of it. And then her mouth dropped open for a moment as she gazed at the trio of apples that had been immaculately carved into the back. Her head immediately turned to the next closest throne to her left. This one had another smaller chair just to the right of it. She reached up again, gently wiping the dust from the back of it, and when her eye saw the ruby six-pointed star, she bit her bottom lip as tears rapidly built up in her eyelids.
Sunny? Are you alright, sweetheart?
Pip asked, shining her phone's light in her direction. The Earth Mare turned towards the three of her friends with a smile, as her tears spilled over, running down her cheeks.
The Guardians of Harmony. They were here.
Chapter 4. Memories. The pair of Pegasi and one unicorn watched as Sunny carefully went around the table, sidestepping gemstones, going to each crystal throne, and brushing off the back, revealing an insignia on each. The closest to them was the trio of apples, then going counterclockwise from there was the six-pointed star, a cloud with the rainbow lightning bolts, a trio of pink butterflies, a trio of yellow and blue balloons, and finally, a trio of cyan diamonds. Curiously, there were no marks of any kind on the smaller throne next to the six-pointed star one. By the time she worked her way back to her three friends, she had wiped her eyes and gotten herself under control.
There's over 100 gems in here, easy. Are you gonna go through them all?
Izzy asked as she continued to rotate the first one in her hooves, watching the still image fade in and out.
Absolutely. I need to find a way to transport all of these safely. If I just toss them into one bag, they might get scratched.
Sunny said, as she picked up a second one, slowly rotating it in her hooves. She found it contained an image of the Guardians of Harmony gathered around a picnic table with bottles of juice.
These must be memories of the 6 of them.
Izzy said as she gently sat the gem down. Pip took a moment to think, as she put a hoof to her chin.
Zip, you're faster than I am. Do you think you can get home and back before we lose the sun? My room, 3rd dresser, 3rd drawer on the left. You'll find a pile of silk patches. Bring as many as will fit in your bag. Sunny can wrap the crystals individually.
Zip nodded at her and then turned back out into the hall, retracing her steps back out to the front, loving absolutely any excuse to take to the sky. Pip resumed filming while Sunny and Izzy began to collect the gems and organize them, putting them on the outer edges of the large stone table to get them off of the floor.
We've discovered what appears to be some kind of throne room with a large round table in the middle and dozens upon dozens of these little gems, each with a still image inside. Was this how ancient equestrians took pictures?
Pip asked, talking to her future audience when she got these videos uploaded. She began to assist the unicorn and Earthmare in getting the gems organized. There seemed to be 3 colors, topaz, cyan, and rose quartz, and Sunny began to wonder if it had anything to do with the memory that they contained, or if it was just for aesthetic.
What were these doing all over the floor in here?
Izzy asked, carefully levitating another 2 gems over to the table.
We have no idea how much time has passed. If not crystal, stone, or metal, it probably didn't last much longer than a century in here. For all we know, these were hanging all over the ceiling and at one point fell over the floor and table.
Sunny said.
Well, luckily we haven't come across any broken ones yet.
Pip replied. Indeed, some were a little scratched and scuffed, which was why Sunny wanted to handle them with great care to not damage them further. Almost an hour later, Zip came back with another backpack on her shoulders, and by that time they had gotten all the gems in the throne room on the table and organized, but hadn't had the time to look at them quite yet.
Wow, sis, how many silk scraps did you pack?
Pip asked.
Oddly enough. By last count, we got 222 gems in here.
Izzy said, waving a hoof to the organized gems on nearly half of the table.
Not just silky, guys. I figured if we're spending the night down here, we could do with a good dinner. So I got some stuff for carrot dogs and some charged portable batteries for our phones. You probably hadn't stopped recording since we got in here.
Hearing carrot dogs made Sunny realize that she hadn't eaten since her late breakfast, just before coming down here.
Here you go.
Zip said, handing Sunny a pile of square silk scraps.
Thank you so much.
Sunny said, accepting the stack of silk and setting them next to the first group of topaz gems. Next up out of Zip's pack was a small plastic tub so that she had something to put them in.
Oh, when I got outside, the group chat got a few texts from Hitch. He said he'll try and make the time to swing by tomorrow after breakfast.
Zip said.
Awesome. I'll send him a text when we get out by the tents. He could bring a new notebook so I can catalog all these. Oh, and Zip?
Sunny paused, turning to the table and picked up one of the gems and brought it over to her.
I found one that I think you might like.
Sunny walked over and gently put the cyan gem into the Pegasus's hooves, who then slowly rotated it. Her eyes widened and a smile slowly grew on her face when she saw the memory contained within. It was a cyan Pegasus with a rainbow mane who was definitely posing for this picture. She recognized the navy blue flight uniform and goggles all too well from the metallic poster in the Zephyr Heights airship terminal. She believed that they were called the Wonderbolts or something. She recognized the Pegasus as one of Sunny's wooden figures, the Guardians of Harmony. Zip tore her eyes away from the crystallized memory and smiled at Sunny as she handed the gem back to her.
That must have been quite the world they all lived in.
Zip said.
We can only imagine, at least for now.
Sunny replied.
With ponies like you, I doubt we'll have to imagine forever. Well, I'll let you get started getting these all wrapped up. Meet me back out in 15 for some fresh fire-roasted carrot dogs complete with all the toppings that you could want.
Things are getting pretty interesting so far. And this whole thing with the present characters looking back into the past, oh, that is golden. And this fanfic is no exception. Absolutely superb. Now let's get on to our memorable donators. Top donators: Peter Coulthard, J Tin Man, Darkside, Gauntlet, and Only One Thing. Zar630, Strix, Rayden, Narwhals, Blackmoonheart, Drake Lovedragon, Pastel Skies, Austin Roland, Crazy Killer 557, Stu Hex, Will, Omicron Lyre, Delspo, Delta Omega, Jack Hadge, RuneType 9852, Madman Stan, Leslie Prickett, Hudson Norman, Stephen Bingham, LineGod12, Sorcerer Constantine, Hudzaza, and many more beautiful people. Thank you all so much for watching this video and live life to the fullest.